James Gunn's Superman won at the box office despite not being a billion-dollar hit and coming out on digital only a month after its theatrical release. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Halle Berry had already played Storm in the X-Men franchise and had won the Oscar for Monsters Ball. However, her starring role in Catwoman got her a Razzie Award. Based on the popular villain of the Batman comics, the movie had little to do with the established canon and did not focus on Selina Kyle's version of the character. James Gunn's Superman was released on digital and PVOD on August 15, a month after the film's theatrical release. Despite it not being a billion-dollar hit, it is still a major success, making fans wonder why the film was coming out so early. Gunn clarifies that it was due to Peacemaker Season 2's release via Variety. The film did great at the box office, with its worldwide gross at the time of writing being $586 million, via the numbers. While not a huge hit like the Dark Knight trilogy or even Man of Steel, Gunn's DCU film is not a failure, as it has fared much better than a whole bunch of DC adaptations. Gunn's Superman has surpassed 15 DC movies that were released since 2000, in terms of box office performance. Keanu Reeves' Constantine was not a flop and actually received mixed to positive reviews. The supernatural horror film had a budget of $100 million, and its $230 million box office gross, via Box Office Mojo, made it moderately profitable but not enough to start a franchise like other films of the time, like Spider-Man 2 and Batman Begins. The movie abandoned its comic book roots and used the character's popularity to show a generic action movie. Weak direction, action choreography, and performances were just a huge letdown. The weird basketball sequence still stands out. The film earned only $82 million against a $100 million budget and was a huge flop, via Box Office Mojo. Halle Berry had already played Storm in the X-Men franchise and had won the Oscar for Monsters Ball. However, her starring role in Catwoman got her a Razzie Award. Based on the popular villain of the Batman comics, the movie had little to do with the established canon and did not focus on Selina Kyle's version of the character. Bryan Singer's Superman Returns was a direct sequel to Superman 1 and 2, which starred Christopher Reeve. Brandon Routh replaced the legendary star in the sequel, but it was not as huge a hit. With a $200 million budget, the movie only grossed $391 million at the box office, which was too less for a film of that scale, via Box Office Mojo. All sequel plans were cancelled, and Man of Steel became the next live-action iteration of the character. Many criticized the slow pacing of the movie and Superman's late re-entry to heroics, though the movie received better responses in retrospect. Still, it was not as hopeful or fun as James Gunn's Superman, nor was it as grand as Man of Steel. The movie later became a cult classic. The relative obscurity of John Constantine, its R rating, and its not being a traditional superhero movie may have worked against it. However, a sequel has been in development for quite some time now, with Reeves ready to return to his role. We know Josh Brolin as Thanos and Cable, but before all of those comic book characters, he played Jonah Hex first in the eponymous flop. It also had a strong ensemble cast, including Michael Fassbender, Megan Fox, John Malkovich, and Michael Shannon. Zack Snyder's first attempt at a DC Comics adaptation, Watchmen's theatrical release was widely panned for its unorthodox filmmaking and Snyder's typical touches. Based on Alan Moore's legendary graphic novel, the film was a commentary on superheroes and their popularity. It was set in an alternative, retro-futuristic society. Despite its cult status, the film was a box office bomb, earning only $187 million at the box office despite an almost $150 million budget, via the numbers. Many criticized the long runtime, the bleak atmosphere, and the slow pacing. The characters were also not popular, and the deviation from Moore's comic book story angered many pure fans. With a production budget of almost $219 million, Green Lantern was destined to be a commercial flop. But its quality did not help its case. The film's reception was so bad that Ryan Reynolds himself addressed it in Deadpool 2. Many criticized the wasted potential of the movie, with badly made CGI and a very thin villain. Hal Jordan's storyline was also criticized for rushing through the emotional bits that resulted in a bad payoff. But the film was reportedly a critical and commercial failure, earning only $11 million. The production reportedly faced a lot of hurdles, including extensive reshoots, which messed with the original film. No matter what anyone says, Birds of Prey is a good film. There is a lot of hate against the movie, but beyond that, It was a fun watch that was wacky and quirky in a whole new way. The film, however, was a box office bomb. James Gunn hints at Idris Elba's return as Bloodsport, teasing a mystery Superman shooting that could connect DCU's past to David Corenswet's future. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. So, now that there's a curiosity surrounding which Superman was shot, that mystery could be the perfect way for Gunn to connect past stories to his new DC universe.
How can?
Following the success of his new Superman movie, James Gunn has been talking about which old DC characters might show up in his brand new DC universe. Speaking with EW, the filmmaker addressed Margot Robbie's return as Harley Quinn, while also revealing his plan for Bloodsport's comeback. Robbie's Harley Quinn will be revealed down the line. I definitely am always looking for a place to put Bloodsport and figuring that out. So we'll see what happens. Much like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, even Idris Elba's Bloodsport was last seen in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, 2021. Therein, we learned about an off-screen scene where Bloodsport had shot Superman with a kryptonite bullet, thus leading to his incarceration in the first place in the DCU. But here's the twist: although the movie was directed by James Gunn, the filmmaker never confirmed which Superman it was, given that his film never showed that moment, only spoke about it. While people assumed it to be Henry Cavill, given that both films were part of the DCU, Gunn never clarified with certainty. But the movie never actually showed the scene, and James Gunn never confirmed which Superman was shot. However, since both films were part of DCU, fans naturally assumed it was Henry Cavill's version, but Gunn left the answer open-ended. Speaking with IGN, in a breakdown of his 2021 film's trailer, Gunn noted, "Bloodsport is in prison for putting Superman into the ICU with a kryptonite bullet. Yes, the Suicide Squad is a part of the DCU, but I don't know which Superman it was because I don't cast the next Superman. So, it could be Henry Cavill. It could be somebody else. It's whoever people decide upon other than me. This is where things get interesting for David Corenswet's Superman. If Gunn decides to bring Idris Elba's Bloodsport, he could easily rewrite that unseen moment from his 2021 film to make it part of Corenswet's Superman story. Because, anyway, he's bringing a character from the DCU and merging it with his new DCU. That means Bloodsport's history would suddenly overlap with the brand new Man of Steel, turning him into one of Superman's most dangerous past enemies before they even meet on screen. Meanwhile, in the comics, Bloodsport wasn't just randomly gunning for Superman. He was manipulated into the act by Lex Luthor. Now this makes the story even juicier. If Gunn keeps that part of the backstory, it could suggest that Bloodsport probably met Lex as a working partner. After all, Bloodsport is primarily an assassin for hire, and Lex has his